It seems like people who don't skate know absolutely nothing about skateboarding. Now you may be thinking, well duh, if they don't skate, then why should they? But when you think about almost any other activity, people at least know the basics. You don't have to play baseball to know that there's 4 bases, a bat, and a ball. You don't have to be a basketball player to know that there's a ball and 2 hoops. And you don't need to be a cheerleader to know that it's not a real sport. Okay, that last one was just a joke. If you happen to be a cheerleader, please don't come at me. The point is, people who don't skate are absolutely oblivious to what skateboarding is and how it works. And because the general public doesn't know anything about skateboarding, skateboarders tend to hear the same few things over and over, which eventually gets a bit repetitive. In this video, we're going to go over a few things that you should never say to a skateboarder. Or at least things that most skateboarders are probably tired of hearing. If you have any good suggestions, by all means leave it in the comments because there definitely isn't a shortage of dumb things people say to skateboarders. Be sure to leave a like on the video to help spread this much needed knowledge, and with that said, let's get right into it. Something you should never ever tell a skateboarder is that they're going to get hurt skating whatever it is that they're trying to skate. Half of skateboarding is really just overcoming that mental battle to land something, and the last thing any skateboarder wants on their mind is one of the millions of possibilities there is of them falling and getting hurt. This is probably one of the most annoying things that you can say to a skateboarder because you're bringing attention to a very real possibility that they're not only already well aware of, but consciously trying to avoid thinking about. If you can think of a line that's worse, definitely leave it in the comments, but this is about as annoying as it gets. It's almost like having a friend who's nervous to go talk to a girl, and right before he walks over to her, you say, "Hey man, you're probably gonna blow it." He's most likely already aware of that possibility, and you bringing it to his attention isn't going to help the situation. Also, by telling someone they're going to get hurt, you're stating it like a fact, and it's almost like you're hoping that it's going to happen. Skateboarding is a naturally dangerous activity, and everyone, including both non-skateboarders and especially skateboarders, are already well aware of it. So it's probably better not to point out the worst case scenario as if it's guaranteed.
You called the cops, leave, like you did your job, now just let them come and kick us out. No, I'm gonna stand right here, and he was standing right at the wall, like, I'm standing right here, I'm gonna watch, you gonna do this, I'm gonna watch, hope you eat. He's like, what the f, dude, are you dead ass? That's whack, you're so whack for saying that. I'm like, f this guy, I'm gonna do this. And I get bodied, dude, like as soon as I hit the kink, just rolled out heels, flipped over and like smacked my hand on the ground and like hit my forehead on the ground.
Next on the list is telling skaters how you used to skate. For some reason, it seems like every person who doesn't skate but has previously stepped foot on a skateboard feels obligated to let every skateboarder they see know about it. This one isn't nearly as bad as some of the other things that people say to skateboarders, but it is something that skaters hear all the time. Sometimes it is coming from a good place, and the person just wants to find some common ground with you, but other times it's almost like a weird brag, and there's not a lot that you can say in response to it. I mean, imagine if someone just walked up to a baseball field where some people were playing and was like, "Hey, I used to play baseball." What are you supposed to say to that? Do you invite them to play with you? Are you supposed to congratulate them? There's no clear answer. Also, there is the rare situation where the person in question actually was a real skateboarder, but usually it's just someone who had a longboard in college that they used to get to class. When it comes down to it though, a lot of people are just telling you that they used to skate because they saw your skateboard and they think it's cool and they don't really know what else to say.
I started skating when I was 12 and then kind of like stopped after high school.
A lot of times after someone assures you that they used to skate, they'll follow it up by asking to try out your board. Having a random person ask to skate your board can happen when they're alone, but it's especially common when they're with a group of people. For some reason, people who don't skate absolutely love to show off their minimal skateboarding skills to their friends as if it's some novelty thing. In the rare chance that they actually can somewhat skate, it's not quite as bad, and sometimes it can even be kind of cool depending on the person, but usually their performance consists of some beginner flat ground trick where they have a super low crouch and maybe even a hand touch on the ground. Regardless of the trick they attempt, it's usually a pretty underwhelming display, and you're kind of forced to just stand there and watch. Sometimes it can be fun to watch someone who has no idea what they're doing try their hand at skating, but it's also an easy way to end up with your board getting cracked, chipped, or sometimes even shot out into the street. Unfortunately, if someone asks you and you say no, somehow you come off as the weird one, but if you say yes, you can easily end up spending 20 minutes waiting for someone to land what's probably their first kickflip in well over 10 years. Another annoying question people ask skateboarders is if they know Tony Hawk or Rob Dyrdek or whatever other pro skater comes to their mind. Honestly, there's so many things wrong with this question that it's kind of crazy someone would even ask it. I mean, do people really assume that just because two people skate, they automatically know each other? Even if the skateboarder in this scenario did know whatever pro was named, what would that really change? Someone would never go up to a random kid playing basketball and ask them if they knew Michael Jordan, so it doesn't make sense that they'd go up to a skateboarder and ask them if they know Tony Hawk.
We're actually doing this thing. If you can guess this person.
I have no clue who that is.
No idea? You work here?
Yeah. Oh, it's... I don't know, dude.
This is Tony Hawk.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, come on. You work at the skate shop.
I know.
Another thing that non-skateboarders say to skaters all the time is to teach them how to skate. Usually, they either ask you to teach them how to ollie, or teach them how to kickflip, or some variation of the sort, but it's basically all the same thing. Now, if someone's actually trying to learn how to skate, there's no problem at all with them asking. The only time it's a little annoying is when the person asking clearly doesn't skate at all and has no real intention of actually learning. It's almost like they expect you to teach them within a few minutes, as if it's some card trick that anyone can just learn right away. Think about if someone said this to people doing literally any other activity. Could you imagine skating up to some tennis players in the middle of a match and telling them to teach you how to play? Chances are, they don't want to stop what they're doing just to give lessons to some person they don't even know. The same concept should apply to skateboarding, but for some reason, people just don't see it that way, and they essentially expect you to be their personal skate coach.
Yeah, no, I mean...
Let's just try to roll into this little bank and kind of work on the balance.
Oh my god, oh my god.
You got it. Lean forward, lean forward, lean forward.
By far, one of the most repeated things that people say to skateboarders is telling them to do a kickflip.
Oh, do a kickflip!
This is probably the most common phrase that skateboarders hear from non-skateboarders, and if you skate long enough, there's a 100% chance that you're going to hear it eventually. Honestly, at this point, you might even hear it if you don't skate.
Oh, do a kickflip! Not on this one.
This one is so common that it's essentially transcended into meme territory, and the Barracks even has a series on it.
Yo, do a kickflip!
Now, there's a variety of reasons why people might say this one. Sometimes they're just saying it mockingly, sometimes they want to show off the fact that they know the name of a skateboarding trick, and sometimes it's just because they want to see a kickflip. It's become so common that you can't even get mad at it anymore. At this point, I don't even think most people even expect you to do it. It's almost like they're just obligated to say it whenever they see a skateboarder. The phrase do a kickflip is basically the equivalent to someone yelling play Freebird at a concert, and at this point, we basically just have to deal with it.
Do a kickflip! Do a kickflip! Do a kickflip! $6 for a kickflip.
Even though people who don't skate make it abundantly clear that they know absolutely nothing about skateboarding, usually their questions come from a good place, so it's good to at least try to be patient. With that said, if by some chance you don't skate and you're watching this, try to refrain from fulfilling the stereotype, and if you do skate, well, hearing the same things over and over is just something you're going to have to deal with. If you think there were any good ones missed, and most likely there's a few that were, go ahead and leave it in the comments so other people can see it. Be sure to leave a like on the video, and with that said, thanks for watching.